These two teams are playing on field turf, so they will not have any footing problems today. It will not be a factor. But one thing that will be a factor is the crowd noise. This is the loudest stadium in the NFL, bar none. Opponents have 24 false start penalties, most out of any stadium, dome or open. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a playoff game. This will be louder than any other regular season game. Fans here in Seattle take a lot of pride being the 12th man, as you're going to see right now.
And that's what you play for. Home field advantage throughout, which the Seahawks have. And a week off before you have to play a divisional playoff game where your guys can get healthy. And that's what the Seahawks have done. They have also won the toss and will get the ball first. John Hall will be kicking off for the Redskins. He missed that first Seattle game. And back deep will be Josh Scobie for the Seahawks. And the game underway in a very short kickoff by Hall, and Scobie retrieving it at about the 16-yard line and is dropped at about the 33-yard line. So Matt Hasselbeck, who came of age this year, a team record for passer rating, and Mike Holmgren has brought him along, says he can be a great one.
Well, I think the big thing there is a trust between Mike Holmgren and Matt Hasselbeck right now. You hear that cliche, they're on the same page. He's afforded him more flexibility at the line of scrimmage to audible and get into better plays, and that's one of the reasons this offense has been so productive this season.
They open with 3 wide receivers, including Joe Jurevicius and the fullback Max Strong going in motion to the right. On first down from the 34, directing traffic, and the pass is caught by Darrell Jackson and stopped at the 39 after a gain of 6.
The Redskins are going to be geared to stop the run. That's going to afford these guys an opportunity down the field to have a big day. Joe Jurevicius, 10 TD catches this season, the most in his career. This is a good group. There's some people out here that don't know a lot about the Seahawks. This is one of those areas everybody says, well, if you stop Sean Alexander, you can shut that offense down. I don't believe it.
Second down and 4 with plenty of time, and the pass thrown away. Max Strong, the intended receiver. And remember, a lot of those receivers were injured throughout most of the year, and the Seahawks did not miss a beat.
And for the Redskin defense, it's going to be key on first down. Seattle is number 2 in the NFL at yards on first down, and it was such a big part of that first game, the third down situation. But they've got to play well on first down if they're going to play well on third.
And if you want to control the ball, which the Redskins might want to do to keep this offense off the field, they'll have to stop Seattle on third down. 3rd and 4 coming up at the 40. And Hasselbeck is going to go deep for Darrell Jackson, who makes the reception and goes out of bounds. Shawn Springs was beaten by Darrell Jackson, who missed 10 games with knee surgery this season, a gain of 37.
Well, it didn't take long for Matt Hasselbeck. He talked about challenging Shawn Springs down the field. He knows he's coming off an injury, and he's not that healthy. Shawn Springs kind of sitting on something there. He thought it was going to be a shorter route. Darrell Jackson never stopped.
Shawn Springs, who played 7 years with the Seahawks and once a #1 draft pick, coming back home to Seattle and beaten. 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. And Shawn Alexander with his first carry of the game. And Alexander is bottled up, picking up 3 yards with Demetric Evans making the tackle. Evans at defensive end starting in place of the injured Ronaldo Wynn. Mike Holmgren, the only team that Mike Holmgren has never beaten as a head coach, the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that he has to get off his back, too. But this is a different group out here. I mean, we've talked about a lot of the stars and the players on the Seahawks team, but I think the big change this season has been the attitude and the chemistry of this entire team.
Already in field goal range, 2nd and 7, play action. on the rollout, and the pass caught by Bobby Ingram. That'll be a first down just outside the 10-yard line and an 8-yard gain.
Coming into the game, I think Greg Williams thought that maybe the Seahawks would come out flat. They haven't played a real meaningful game in quite some time. He was hoping to take advantage of Matt Hasselbeck, maybe being pumped up, that the adrenaline's going, maybe getting on the ball to sail away to get a turnover. But I tell you what, he has been extremely impressive on this opening series.
And already Greg Williams is looking at the best offense. Seahawks scoring touchdowns on the opening drive in 4 of their last 5 regular season games. Here's another pass up the middle, and it's off of Ingram, and it was deflected perhaps by Sean Taylor, but Ingram had beaten Taylor in the end zone.
What a great defensive play by Sean Taylor. Great play fake to Sean Alexander, gets everybody to bite. Look at that hole right there. Watch the athletic ability. Sean Taylor, that's what you have in the secondary. That's why he is so important to that group. He was beaten on that play, but he had the ability to get back and make that deflection.
They only rushed 4 guys in that particular play, 4 defensive linemen. Got no pressure. Matt Hasselbeck feels very comfortable in that pocket. You can't let him get comfortable back there, or he will pick you apart.
2nd and 10 at the 11-yard line. Sean Alexander has carried only once. Here is his 2nd attempt. Fumbles. And the Redskins may have recovered. They do. So Sean Alexander fumbles, and the Redskins get it on the 10. It was Lamar Marshall who made the recovery. And the Seahawks opening drive ends in a turnover.
The NFC Divisional Playoffs on Fox are sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 40.
So a fumble by Sean Alexander on an impressive drive by the Seahawks, and now Mark Brunell in his 10th career playoff start replaced an injured Patrick Ramsey in the 2nd quarter of the opening game and never looked back. First down on the 11. And this is where the crowd could become a factor. Play action, Brunell inside his 5. Nowhere to go, and finally throws it out of bounds. Leroy Hill, the rookie linebacker, putting pressure on Mark Brunell, who played at the University of Washington.
Well, the formula has been set on how to stop this Washington offense. One of these guys is going to have to step up today. Taylor Jacobs, your 2nd wide receiver. Not much production this year, not much confidence in his abilities on the outside.
On first down, the Redskins used only 1 wide receiver. That was Moss. 2nd down and 10. Handoff to Clinton Portis. And Portis carries it out to about the 14, where Lofa Tatupu makes the tackle, picking up 3.
It's going to be the same recipe for this Seattle defense, also worried about the run. They're going to bring 8 guys into the box. That leaves these 3 defenders back in coverage. Andre Dyson back in the game today, missed the last 4. A big addition. When you're going to put that 8th guy in the box, you have to have confidence in the other 3 in coverage.
3rd down and 8. Santana Moss to the bottom of your picture, defended by Marcus Trufant. There he is, 3rd and 8 from the 13, and Brunell's pass, and off the hands of Taylor Jacobs. Defending was Andre Dyson, so they want to get Jacobs into the game, but Dyson returns in a big way.
You got to make this catch. It's such a huge part of the game to convert on 3rd down and give your team more opportunities. Just put, get the ball in your hands, squeeze it in tight. Andre Dyson's there. He gets a hand on it. But you see right there, Taylor Jacobs, they're just not sure what they're going to get from him on the outside.
So Derek Frost, who has been shaky as of late, will be kicking from the end zone for Washington. And looking at good field position, Jimmy Williams is going to let it bounce. It takes a big Redskin hop and will get inside the 40-yard line. So the Redskins catch a break there. Each team has had the ball once. Seahawks turned it over, but they'll get it back right now. We'll be back. No score. We played 3.5 minutes, no score, and the Seahawks getting the ball for the 2nd time, and the Redskins 23 consecutive postseason games with a takeaway, 2nd longest active streak to Miami. Joe Gibbs has his team in the playoffs in his 2nd year back as head coach of the Redskins. Max Armstrong in motion. The pitch to Alexander, and he goes nowhere. And a loss of 1 yard. Cornelius Griffin on the tackle for Alexander. That was only the second fumble that he has lost all season. The other one was against Green Bay in the last game of the season.
The challenge for the Redskin defense is to be technically sound. You have to stay in your gap. Sean Alexander is the cutback runner, and he's very patient. He's got great vision, and he's very deceptive the way he runs. So you can't think that all of a sudden you're going to be able to make a play and get out of your responsibility, because he will find where that opening is and get right into it.
28 touchdowns, 27 on the ground, an NFL record. 2nd and 11. And again, the handoff to Sean Alexander, and cutting upfield and tackled at the 39, getting 4 yards. And it was Joe Salavea making the tackle. Redskins playing without Ronaldo Wynn, but they have Griffin back, who was shaken up this year, Salavea, and those were 2 important elements in stopping enemy runners.
Oh, big guys inside. You can't say enough about how much those guys mean. When they were out of the lineup, this was not the same defense. You saw the success on that first play. What it does is it gets you the opportunity to get in these 3rd and long situations, and Seattle has really struggled all season in that area.
3rd down and 6. Hasselbeck with the short drop and tries to flip it out, but Philip Daniels got a hand on it. Maurice Morris was the intended receiver, so the Redskins defense comes up big again, and 4th down coming up.
These guys are so good at tipping the ball. I mean, 2 huge plays last week against Tampa Bay on deflected passes. They just know when to get their hands up. You get there, you know you're not going to get in. Find the quarterback. Where's his line of sight? Move back over to that area and then get your hands up in the air.
And big factors on the interceptions thrown by Chris Sims last week. So Tom Bruin will be kicking. And back deep, Antonio Brown for the Redskins. He'll let it bounce. And this time it takes a Seattle stop. And it is down at the 12-yard line. 48-yard punt. No score. Teams feeling each other out in quarter number 1. Steady rain here in Seattle, as Tony pointed out, the 27th consecutive day. The record is 33, set in 1953. There have been mudslides and tough times for residents of the Pacific Northwest. Redskins with their 2nd possession, starting at the 12. 1st down, and Clinton Portis with the carry. And Portis gets 3 yards. Tony.
You know, what the Redskins did here about the 27 days, like you mentioned, what they did do in practice is they had a bucket of water, they had the ball, and they would dunk the ball in the water and give it to Mark Brunell and let him run his plays with a wet ball, so we get used to how damp the balls are going to be out here today.
Mark Brunell has been very good with the wet ball. Of course, as we mentioned, 3 years going to the Super Bowl at the University of Washington. 2nd down and 7.
My monitor.
And here is Portis off the right side. And so far, the run not a factor for either team. Marcus Tubbs making the tackle. Gain of 1 for Portis, coming into the game with the bruised shoulders. And last week did not play a good part of the game. And it's possible today we'll see a lot more of Liddell Betts and Rock Cartwright, depending on how Portis gets along with his injury.
That'd be a big loss for this Redskin offense. You talk about that 6-game winning streak. Besides last week, those first 5 games prior to that, he was the real reason. Got on a real tear running the football.
3rd down and 6. Straight drop back by Brunell, gets hit. And it is ruled an incomplete pass. Rocky Bernard, who comes off the bench, hitting Brunell from behind, 2nd in sacks amongst defensive tackles in the league.
And this is a group, I mean, you don't know a lot of their names. Here comes 99, Rocky Bernard, on a little stunt right there. Gets unimpeded to the quarterback. Mark Brunell doesn't see him coming. You see right there, they led the NFL in sacks this season without one player with double-digit sack totals.
They had 50, a tremendous number. So again, Derek Frost will be kicking. First time from the end zone, here from inside the 5. Jimmy Williams is back deep. And gets off a better kick, but coming up is Williams, and Williams is hit immediately, and the ball is loose. And the Redskins, no, the Seattle Seahawks recover, but Carlos Rogers forced the fumble, and very nearly a recovery by Matt Bowen.
That last play, Addy Jamil comes in, puts the hit on Jimmy Williams. Look at that, 2 guys standing right there. Somehow he comes up with the ball, prevents those Redskins from getting on a short field.
But the Seahawks will start from the 43, their 3rd possession of the game. Play action, and Hasselbeck going through the air. Has a second look, now scrambling. And throws it away. So far, Matt Hasselbeck has been stymied by the Redskins defense. That time, Demetric Evans, who started 7 games for Philip Daniels. And now starting for Ronaldo Wynn at the other end position, bringing up 2nd and 10.
Well, Greg Williams staying with that plan. He's playing more coverage right now. They have not blitzed on 1 down to this point in the game. They've rushed 4. Sometimes they've even rushed 3. They're dropping back to challenge Matt Hasselbeck's patience. He came out that opening drive, did a good job. But now I think the coverage is tightened down. I don't think it's Matt's decisions. I think they're playing great coverage in the secondary and at the linebacker level.
He doesn't want to get burned on those blitzes by Sean Alexander ripping off a big run. And here is the handoff to Alexander. Griffin making the tackle after a pickup of 3 yards.
This offense has been together for so long, and it's hard to explain to people. You know, it's so important to know your teammate. And you talk about not just like Walter Jones and Steve Hutchison playing side by side, but Max Strong and Sean Alexander having run together as fullback and halfback. You know, Matt Hasselbeck being in this system and knowing, you know, what the coach expects. This offensive group has great chemistry, and they don't need to communicate as much at the line of scrimmage.
3rd down and 7. 4 wide receivers, and Max Strong the setback. Hasselbeck stepping up, and the ball is tipped. And Omar Stoutmire on a safety blitz. So you're absolutely right. They decided to send some people. Stoutmire got a hand on it, and that brings up 4th down.
Well, finally bringing some pressure from the left side, but Seattle's got it covered, but they get a tip on it right there, and you see how good this team is. 28 tip passes at the line of scrimmage, leads the NFL, and it's not by happenstance. This is something that is preached by every coach on the defensive side of the ball for the Redskins.
So Tom Ruin will be kicking, and Antonio Brown back deep for the Redskins. Brown at the 12-yard line is hit immediately. Big play made by Jordan Babineau, and an injured Redskin on the field. 7:21 remaining in the 1st quarter. It's Brown who's shaken up.
Antonio Brown makes the first guy miss, but here comes Jordan Babineau. Delivers a big hit from the backside.
And finally walked off on his own power. You know, that's another with James Thrash out of there. Thrash, a good punt returner. It hurts the Redskins there. But so far, it's interesting. It's been a defensive 1st quarter, which is probably good news for Washington.
Well, the big thing is the field position. It's been a battle this whole time. You know, they had that turnover when they got down deep into Washington territory, but they haven't been able to reestablish anything. The Washington Redskins, they've been backed up almost every possession up until this point.
Starting field position was the 12 until now, and now they're starting not much better at the 15. Brunell looking one way and firing, and Taylor Jacobs making the catch. And you wonder whether Mark Brunell will continue to have confidence. Jacobs has to come through today, and the Redskins need someone else, as you pointed out, as a weapon besides the likes of Chris Cooley, Santana Moss, and Clinton Portis.
And it's going to be difficult when you're backed up on your own 13. Tony talked about that noise in the stadium today. When you get down in close to the end zone, it even ramps up a little bit more. So if you're backed up that whole time, it's going to be difficult for this offense.
After the 5-yard pickup, 2nd and 5 at the 20. And they'll run it with Portis. And Portis gets a yard. Trying to go up the middle, and Leroy Hill, the strong side linebacker. There is Hill, who was a 3rd-round pick out of Clemson. And did the Seahawks strike it rich, Darryl, with Hill and Lofa Tatupu, their 2nd-round draft pick. 2 rookies who have really boosted this defense.
They really have, and you talk about Lofa Tatupu also there. He's the guy that handles all your defensive calls. He's a rookie out there playing great football, but he's also the coordinator on the field for this defensive group.
3rd and 5, and it gets even louder. Empty backfield, and Brunell can't run like he used to, and is stopped short by about 4 yards by Lofa Tatupu. And 4th down coming up. So the Redskins have done a good job in poor field position defensively, but have not been able to move the ball on attack. And so Derek Frost is aboard once again, and the Redskins will kick it to Jimmy Williams.
That first meeting when they converted all those 3rd downs, one of the reasons was Mark Brunell. He scrambled for a couple of them, not that time.
with the kick, and Williams gets hit immediately and holds on to it this time. And it was Adi Jamo. So 2 big special teams plays by Adi Jamos on punt coverage.
I wouldn't want to be a punt returner today.
Well, the Panthers and the Bears tomorrow at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Another rematch, Darryl.
This is going to be a great game. I draw a lot of parallels. You look at this Carolina team a couple years ago when they went to the Super Bowl. They had lost to Dallas and Philadelphia during the season. All they wanted was another shot at those teams. I think they want another shot at those Chicago Bears. They had a very poor performance the first time.
Steve Smith, the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. Brian Urlacher, the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year. And Rex Grossman, who has played only 6 quarters, leading the way for the Bears at Soldier Field. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman will have all of it for tomorrow. First down, and on the rollout, Hasselbeck backing up, and the pass is caught at the 39 by Darrell Jackson. Good catch as he was hit by Sean Taylor. Gets only 4 yards, however.
Still not bringing a whole lot of pressure here. There's Sean Springs on the outside with Darrell Jackson. Little zone coverage turns him loose. He's trying to get back to the underneath guy. Here comes 21 again. Bang. Boy, that guy can cover a lot of ground.
Second down and 6. Alexander cutting upfield, and Alexander will lose yardage, and the Redskins and a fumble, and recovered initially by Seattle, and Alexander is shaken up. Sean Alexander, it was Marcus Washington who came in and put the pressure on Alexander, and he is slow getting up. This could be significant, obviously. And
the one thing that makes Seattle such a tough offense is a balanced attack and 2 big weapons on that side of the ball, the run game, the pass game. An injury to Sean Alexander all of a sudden makes this team one-dimensional.
Boy, you go into a playoff game like this, you don't count on that. Sean Alexander right in the middle of all of that as he came out of the field. Tony, you're close to what's going on.
You know, right now they're checking out his neck and wiggling his hands. The one thing that would tell me, being a player, is sometimes you get dinged and your neck compresses. You start to get a burner where it shoots down your arms. That's one of the things it looks like right now.
Maurice Morris coming in, 3rd down and 7, and Hasselbeck stepping up, and he's going to be dumped behind the 40 by Demetric Evans. So Evans already making his presence felt, coming off the bench for the injured Ronaldo Wynn, and that will be a sack for the Redskins. No gain on the play, and 4th down coming up.
Redskins still getting pressure with just bringing 3 or 4. You see the 3 guys down there. Look at the coverage by this group. I mean, there's nowhere for Matt Hasselbeck to go with the ball. We continue to see him pull it down. Great coverage by the secondary and linebackers of the Redskins.
Antonio Brown was shaken up last time, is back there to return the kick. He'll let it bounce. Once again, if you play golf, you know it's checked up by the Seahawks on the kick by Tom Ruin, and down inside the 10. Well, we have had 6 straight 3-and-outs so far in this game, with 3:44 remaining, and the Redskins backed up once again. Well, this February, the fastest sport on earth returns to Fox for another season of incredible action as the world's best drivers go door to door in a quest to take home the checkered flag. NASCAR returns in high definition with the Auto Club 500 February 26th, only on Fox. Joe Gibbs knows a lot about that.
Yeah, people in Seattle want him to go back.
What a year for Joe Gibbs in 2 sports. First down on the 8. Clinton Portis running into his own blocker. Grant Wistrom making the tackle. A pickup of 2 for Portis, who was the 4th leading rusher in the NFL this year.
You see right there, the Seattle Seahawks defense, not one of the best in the NFL, way down the bottom of the pile at 28. 3 of them already today. And they're executing the formula that we've seen successful against this Redskin offense throughout the year. You shut Clinton Portis down in that running game, take away Cooley and Moss in the passing game, and force somebody else to step up and beat you.
You saw Alexander on his feet being 10-2, 2nd down and 8. And penalty marker down, and a false start penalty will be called against the Redskins. Ron Winter and his crew working this afternoon's divisional playoff.
False start. Offense number 76. Penalized after distance to the goal. Remains second down.
That's John Jansen, and what makes this crowd so tough for the 12th man, and you see 24 opponents false start penalties the most of any stadium, is the proximity of the end zone crowd to the goalposts. Word on Sean Alexander, suffering a concussion, questionable as to his return. Second down and 13, the ball back on the 5. They go to Portis with blockers. And Portis crosses the 5-yard line, gets 2 yards. And that will bring up third down and long for the Redskins.
The Seahawks don't get a lot of notoriety around the country because they're tucked way up here in the Pacific Northwest, but you start to learn about a Sean Alexander and a Matt Hasselbeck, Walter Jones, some of the high-profile offensive guys. Not a lot of people know any of these defensive guys, but I really feel the reason that they're 13-3 this year and we're able to take that next step is the play of the defense, because this offense for Seattle has always been effective, but this group has really stepped up this season.
And so far a different picture as far as third down conversions. We'll see what happens here. On 3rd and 11, Brunell back in the end zone. Can't find a receiver and will have to go out of bounds. So the Seahawks have kept the Redskins backed up throughout this first quarter. Grant Wistrom chasing Brunell out of bounds. And 4th down coming up after a 2-yard gain.
And Mark Brunell, he used to be a running quarterback early in his career, but now he's a quarterback that runs. He's selective. He can advance the chains, get you a first down when he runs, but not like he did when he was early in his career. But he's had some big runs. Seattle knows that. They respect his ability outside the pocket. They've done a good job containing him.
Derek Frost with the kick. And the Seahawks again will be looking at good field position. Jimmy Williams, after waving it off, decided to pick it up on the high bounce and will retrieve it into Redskin territory. Well, the re-signing of Matt Hasselbeck, Sean Alexander, and Walter Jones, the drafting of Tutupu and Hill. They started at 500-2-2, but then reeled off 11 wins in a row to the Seahawks. NFC West champions. They clinched home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And Sean Alexander setting an NFL record with 28 touchdowns. He won the rushing title, offensive MVP in the NFL. But the question is the health. He remains on the bench with the concussion, and Maurice Morris is the tailback. First down on the 48 of the Redskins. Hasselbeck has completed 4 of 9 for 56 yards. And we'll go to Morris with strong blocking. And Morris pushed out of bounds. And everyone came up, including Ryan Clark, the strong safety.
Well, after that opening first drive by the Seahawks, they had that turnover. They've been out of sync ever since that point. Whether it's in their passing game now with Sean Alexander out, Maurice Morris out there trying to get this running game going. But I've really been impressed with Washington's defense right now. I mean, to play that wild card weekend and perform the way they did against Tampa and come out here against this really explosive offense and play at this level coming all the way across the country. Great start for the Redskin defense.
And that's what they're going to have to rely on today. Empty backfield. And here is Hasselbeck. And Hasselbeck going in reverse, firing it downfield. And the ball is knocked away and nearly intercepted by Ryan Clark. So Hasselbeck threw that up for grabs, trying to get it to Joe Juravicius, but a sea of white uniforms downfield.
A little bit out of sync right now. We talked about Matt Hasselbeck and his decisions. This is one of the things he avoids. He's just got to throw this ball out of bounds. He doesn't need to leave it in the field of play. Very fortunate right there.
Moose, it looks like right now he's a little concerned of them guys getting their hands up in his face with all the tip balls. He has to move around the pocket a little bit to find an open lane, but he can't make throws like that.
And he ought to be concerned with not having Sean Alexander in there as well, Tony. Third down and 9 on the Washington 47. The handoff to Strong. And Strong is tackled as a flag comes upfield from the secondary. Strong is stopped by Sean Springs, and another injured Seahawk on the field. And it's Darrell Jackson. So Alexander out with a concussion. Don't know about his return. And now Darrell Jackson holding on to his lower back comes off. That was a 2-yard gain.
Just things you cannot anticipate during the course of a football game. The offensive NFL MVP, the rushing champions on the sideline with a concussion. Your top wide receiver just gets back in the lineup, and now he's off to the sideline.
Illegal block in the back. Offense. Penalties decline. Makes it 4th down.
So I agree with you, Darryl. The Redskins' defensive effort and the Seahawks have been pretty good, but the Redskins have had to do it with poor field position throughout this first quarter.
Yeah, they've got to have somebody on the offense make a play to get them out of this backed up position on the field that they've been in. They've done consecutive 3-and-outs the entire game. They haven't gotten outside their 20 yet. Let's see if the Seahawk punting group can keep them back there.
Tom Ruin again, low kick this time. Antonio Brown with the fair catch. And for the Redskins to have the ball at a 15-yard line, they say this is pretty good. Well, the Redskins season, the big trade for Santana Moss from the New York Jets. Patrick Ramsey got hurt in the opener against the Bears, and then Mark Brunell took over. 3-0 start, including the overtime win against the Seahawks. And after 3 straight losses, they were 5-6. People writing them off, but then 5 straight victories to end the year. And they got that last wild card spot. And, of course, the wild card win against the Buccaneers. And here they are in the divisional playoffs. First down at the 15-yard line. Tight formation, only 1 wide receiver, and that's Moss to the left. Portis. And Portis driving forward, getting into the 20. Picking up 5 with Chuck Darby making the tackle on Portis. Portis shaken up coming into this game with the shoulder injuries, but Joe Gibbs marveling at how tough he was to see him in the game in the 4th quarter last week at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it's been tremendous to watch some of the things that he's worked through. I mean, you saw him in and out of the lineup last week against Tampa Bay. I was really surprised to see him out here this week. He's a tough guy.
Well, that's the end of the first quarter. Surprisingly, when you look at Seattle's offense, a scoreless game. And this Fox NFL divisional playoff will continue after these messages. Second quarter, Dick Stockton along with Darryl Johnson and Tony Siragusa. Joe Gibbs, 3rd winningest coach playoff-wise in history, to Tom Landry and Don Shula. 2nd down and 6 at the 19 for the Redskins. Santana Moss going in motion, the quick to Taylor Jacobs, and he's going to lose yardage. Not well executed. The pass by Brunell was actually thrown behind Jacobs, and it was Bryce Fisher and Dyson on the play, and a loss of 2. And more bad news for the Seahawks. Darrell Jackson suffering a back injury, questionable as to his return. So there you got Alexander and Jackson both hurt in the first quarter.
Yeah, that last play, don't outthink yourself as a Redskin offense. They might be expecting that play to Santana Moss, but he has the ability to make people miss. That's a lot to ask from Taylor Jacobs to go out and run that play that Santana Moss runs so well.
Moss going in motion. And the pass is ruled incomplete, intended for Clinton Portis and Marquand Manuel defending on the play. Manuel became a starter in week 7 when Ken Hamlin, who was arguably the best defensive back, was hurt in an off-the-field incident.
Are you going to get a blitzer? He's going to come. It's actually Jordan Babineau, 27. There's Marquand Manuel, 33, moving to the outside. Makes the hit right as the ball gets there. You know, they said that this defense wasn't as fast as Tampa Bay. I don't know right now. They're flying around out there.
And Derek Frost with a high kick this time, and bobbling the ball and losing it, and the Redskins may have recovered it. Pearson Prelo has recovered the muff kick by Jimmy Williams, and the Redskins will have their deepest penetration, so to speak, inside the Seahawk 40-yard line.
Well, Joe Gibbs told us that the Redskins, the heart of this group was the special teams. They were defined by their defense. Special teams was the heart, and the offense was the complementary role, and we've seen that all play out this afternoon up until this point. You obviously can see how well the defense has been playing, and special teams is the group that finally changes field position for the Washington Redskins.
First 10 games, minus 13 on the turnover ratio, and you can see why they have won 6 in a row, including the wild card victory. So the Redskins in rarefied air here in Seattle in Seahawk territory. First down at the 39. Brunell with some room and going for Santana Moss, and the pass is out of bounds. And Brunell's toss, Darrell, seemed to float out there after he had beaten the secondary.
I don't think they were dumping those balls in the bucket long enough on that one, Tony. That one looked like it slipped out of his hands.
They should have dunked like 2 or 3 more times, I think. I think it's the weight of the ball also. With this rain out here, it's raining down here pretty good. And the ball's on the ground. The center's got to bring it up. So that ball is constantly in or around water. And the weight, I think, is really making a big difference out here.
You know, Tony, until this year, it never rained in this stadium. And all of a sudden, they had a couple of games where they had plenty of it.
It's a big shocker for them with this rain out here.
Cooley going in motion to the right on 2nd and 10 at the 39. Cooley on the reception, working forward and close to the first down. Maybe a yard short. As Marcus Tubbs and Michael Boulware in the secondary making the play on Cooley, who had a big year. Talk about the H-backs for the Redskins. Cooley had 7 touchdown catches. And Mike Sellers had 7 as well. So it'll be 3rd down and 1 at the 30. Quarterback sneak by Brunell, and he may have it. And you can see that the Redskins are trying to convert a 3rd down for the first time after going 13 for 18 in the first meeting between these teams in Landover.
And the thing I liked about that play was the quick count. I mean, Mark Brunell's walking up the line, and all of a sudden, as soon as he gets under center, the ball is snapped immediately. Kind of caught that Seahawk defense off guard a little bit.
First down of the game, Tony.
That defensive line, that's exactly what they're looking at. They're looking at the quarterback, trying to get a feel of what the play is going to be. When you, exactly right, Dal, when you go and you have that quick count, you don't have time to go get down and get set and get ready. Very effective, especially with that quick count.
In fact, Brunell was even looking to the right, so it really surprised the defensive line. First down for the Redskins on the Seattle 29. Portis. And backing his way to the 25 with Hill and D.D. Lewis, the 2 outside linebackers. Portis picking up 4.
You talk about linebackers as playmakers, but they're also the guys that coordinate the defensive fronts. But as a young guy, Lofa Tatupu, who's a rookie, I mean, he's in there getting everybody set, making sure everybody's in the right spot. He had to move a down lineman over. He had to get Leroy Hill in the right position, and then he's still up there making the tackle.
2nd down and 6. Tatupu really picked up the pro game in a hurry after his year at USC. And Portis diving inside the 25, getting a yard. Clinton Portis in his 2nd year with the Redskins after the big trade involving cornerback Champ Bailey with the Denver Broncos last year. And Leroy Hill is limping off the field.
You know, Darryl, talking about Lofa Tatupu, even when he first came in as a rookie, drawing these guys together, getting that locker room, trying to learn how to motivate the different players on a team. To bring a guy from college and step right in and become a leader as a middle linebacker is a hell of a feat.
3rd down and 5, and the pass caught by Santana Moss, and Moss getting close to the 10-yard line. So the first catch of the day for Moss of 14 yards. Manuel on the tackle, and it's 1st down, and the Redskins threaten.
He wins this route right off his release. You see right there, he gets right in front of Kelly Herndon. Comes in motion a little bit to get a better spot off the ball. Watch him tap his feet right inside. He's got 2 steps, gets the separation for that slant.
So the Redskins now with 1st and 10, just inside the 10, so we'll call it 1st and goal. Clinton Portis. Portis picking up about a yard. Kevin Bentley, the linebacker who replaced the injured Leroy Hill, making the stop, a 1-yard pickup. So Bentley, who started 3 games for D.D. Lewis this season, has had the experience. It'll be 2nd down and goal for the Redskins.
Moose, you talked about Lofa Tatupu. These defensive linemen are not lining up right every time. He's really going and struggling trying to get these guys lined up. When they come out with 2 tights, I don't think they know, with all this noise out here, exactly where the strength of this defense is.
And the pitch to Portis. And Portis will fight his way for a couple of yards. Marcus Tubbs making the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and goal for Washington. There is John Hall waiting in the wings.
We were at practice on Thursday out at the Seahawks complex, and when you use crowd noise, a lot of times it's for the offense who's coming into a loud stadium, but the defense has to account for that also. There's a lot of communication that goes on for this Seahawks defense out there. They know it's going to be the loudest part of the game when Washington's offense is out, so it may be having an impact on them as well.
First time I ever heard crowd noise for the home team to get the defensive signal. So 3rd and goal at the 7. And Brunell doesn't want to make this a foot race, flips it to the back of the end zone off the hands of Moss, incomplete. Brunell knew that he could not get into the end zone, so he tried to get it to Moss, and Bryce Fisher made it tough for him with the pressure from up front. 4th down coming up, and John Hall will come on.
And Santana Moss, the back of the end zone. Good adjustment right there. He sees his quarterback scrambling. Little scramble drill, breaks back to the outside, gives him an opportunity to try and make a play in the end zone.
So here's John Hall, who missed 6 games this year with a strained quad, a 26-yard attempt. And John Hall has given the Redskins the lead. So they had a high-scoring regular season matchup. Just under 9 minutes remaining in the first half. Only 3-0, but Washington's in front. Overcast and rainy here in Seattle. The Redskins lead the Seahawks 3-0 on John Hall's 26-yard field goal. Redskins had done very well this year, finishing 10-6 against a very tough schedule. They played 10 teams with winning records this year, as opposed to 5 for Seattle. And Hall, who just made the 3-pointer, kicking off to Josh Scobie.
And then NFC East was very difficult. You get outside of your division. And then the NFC East was also matched up against the AFC West, which had a heck of a season this year. So this Redskin team is battle-tested. And as you pointed out, Dick, they've been in this playoff situation for the last 6 weeks. You know, you're sitting at 5-6. You've got to win out to even have a shot. So we're starting to see maybe some of that playing in right now. That, you know, they've been in these types of games for a while. And Seattle, on the other hand, they've been on cruise control for a little while. They came out with a great opening drive, but they've been struggling ever since that turnover by Sean Alexander.
All with the kickoff, and it's a short kickoff. Scobie fields it at the 14. But the Redskins are there with the good coverage. 13-yard return. Jimmy Farris on the tackle. So Matt Hasselbeck and company coming out again. Seahawks with the ball, 3-0. Darrell Jackson, who took a knee to the back, is in the lineup, but Sean Alexander remains on the bench, which is huge for the Seahawks. Hasselbeck looking for a receiver, and it's tipped away and almost picked off by Carlos Rogers. Maurice Morris flaring from the backfield, and very nearly a pick and a score by the rookie Carlos Rogers.
What a great play right there. Matt Hasselbeck holds this a little bit too long. The speed of the secondary players in the NFL, too good to make a throw like that. You've waited on it too long. Very fortunate that he didn't have that one going back to the house.
And right now, Matt Hasselbeck looks confused out there. The crispness is not there as it has been. 2nd down and 10. There's the slant, and dropping it is Bobby Ingram. And that brings up 3rd down, and things get a little bit uneasy now, and look how the Redskins are responding down.
Well, you come on the road and you come into a house, they know how loud it's going to be out here. The first thing you got to do is go out and have some success. Omar Steltmeyer, he's trying to get the Seahawk crowd to get pumped back up, and that's what you have to do. You have to come out and make a big play earlier in this game. And with Seattle's offense having that good first drive but turning the ball over and then kind of not doing much, they allowed Washington to make the first big critical play in this game.
Seahawks 1 for 5 on 3rd down attempts. They need 10 yards here. Hasselbeck with time, and the pass is ruled a catch. 1st down, it appears, to Darrell Jackson. And let's see where they spot the ball. Jackson had a dive in there.
I think they got a nice spot on that one.
And right now on that yellow line, which is unofficial, we'll have a timeout for a measurement.
Darrell Jackson releases up the field, comes on a little in route right there, but he's working back to the ball. Thought he was closer to the 35-yard line than he was to the 36.
Darrell, what does this team do now with Alexander on the sidelines? He's gained 9 yards on 6 carries. Actually, you'd have to say the turning point of this game thus far was the fumble by Alexander.
Please reset the play clock to 31 seconds.
Alexander fumbled on the Redskin 10 when it looked like the Seahawks were going in. And it is a first down for Seattle.
We go back and take a look at it. The tip pass by Sean Taylor was the play right before that fumble. So an almost touchdown by the Seahawks turns into a turnover. Sean Alexander with a big hit. He's got a concussion right now. Then Darrell Jackson went out with a knee to the back. But there's the big play of the game. The muff punt recovered by Pearson Prelo gave the Redskin offense great field position for the first time.
And Maurice Morris, who came in the game as the second leading rusher for the Seahawks at 288 yards. So you know that he wasn't a big factor, picking up 1 yard. Joe Salavea making the tackle, and there you see with the cape and the hood on is Alexander. So all of a sudden you have to ad-lib and go to plan B when your big star looks sideline, and who knows if he'll get back.
Well, the good thing is they've got a good passing attack. Matt Hasselbeck just has to settle down, keep playing the way he's played all season, and have the faith in Maurice Morris that he can come in and do a good job.
Second down and 9, backpedaling, and the pass is caught. Great catch by Darrell Jackson, who after coming back from being shaken up has made a couple of good grabs. That for 8 yards to the 45-yard line, shy of the first.
Well, they are really disrupting the timing of this Seahawk offense. They're getting Matt Hasselbeck off the spot. He is not comfortable in the pocket. He has to continually move. Darrell Jackson has made some good plays down the field, getting some receptions when these plays have been broken down.
But I don't think the Seattle Seahawks can do much without a running game. If all Hasselbeck wants to do is throw, he'll be playing into the Redskins game. This will be a running attempt to Maurice Morris, and he'll get the first down. Tough yards for Morris, picks up 2, and moving the sticks are the Seahawks.
And I don't think a team does a better job at making adjustments during the course of the game than the Redskins. Now, this is down on their sideline in the booth. The photos are coming down from the top, and not only do they look at them, but they diagram what the play was supposed to look like by what the defensive call was. They're critiquing the guys on their technique, because technique is very important today, even though Sean Alexander's not in there to stop this running game.
Play action on first down. And Hasselbeck running and close to the first down. So Matt Hasselbeck, who ran 36 times this year, gets 9 yards plus, very close to the first down, into Redskin territory at the 43.
Maybe not so much as important as what does Seattle do now with Sean Alexander on the sideline, but what does Greg Williams do right now? And he was worried about that running game and wasn't going to bring pressure. We saw that at the beginning of the game. He played more coverage. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Redskins start to bring some pressure.
Maurice Morris will run for his second first down to the 40-yard line. Gain of 4 with Washington on the tackle. So now it looks like the running game, whatever the Seahawks can manage, in the hands of Maurice Morris.
And here comes that crowd again. They're getting revved up. Tony, time to turn the dogs loose, though, on that defense.
Yeah, they got to get them going, man. They got to get a little bit more pressure down there. They can't be complacent with just getting their hands up. They have to get pressure on Matt, or he's just going to sit back there, gain more confidence, and get better as time goes on.
First down on the Redskins 40. Nearly 5.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. They go play action again. And Hasselbeck fakes the pass and slides. And Hasselbeck inside the 35-yard line gets 7 yards. Marshall again on the tackle. So Brunell came in as the running quarterback, so to speak, but it's been Hasselbeck here.
Yeah, he has really improvised well up until this point, and we've talked about his decision-making, you know, through this part of the season. He's not putting the ball. He made that one throw earlier in the game that wasn't a good decision, but besides that, he's pulled the ball down and got some positive yards when the play is broken down. He's not making throws into bad areas. And
he's gained 17 yards on 3 attempts. Second and 3 at the 33. Here's Morris, slowed up, and he won't get to the first down. And it was Cedric Killings and Sean Taylor combined to make the play on Maurice Morris in his 4th year out of the University of Oregon.
The big thing to this defense, you know, the deflections right there. Sean Taylor in the secondary. That was the bad decision by Matt Hasselbeck there. A missed opportunity by Carlos Rogers. That was 7 points for this Redskins defense, which has been putting up some points the last few weeks as a group.
But Seattle doing a good job of moving the ball here. This is their third and short opportunity. They need one. And here's Morris. He's got it. First down inside the Redskin 30.
If you have 10 guys in the box up on the line of scrimmage or linebackers up, you cannot let them go and get a first down on a play like that. Nice job by Morris.
And not only that, they know where they're going. They're going left. If it's a critical play in the game, they're going to get in behind Walter Jones, Steve Hutchinson, send Max Strong in there ahead of the pack.
Pro Bowl and all-pro left side of the offensive line. So here's the rushing story. Hasselbeck leads the way. Morris is second. And a first down at the 29-yard line. Play action. And going deep for Jackson. Touchdown.
What a great throw by Matt Hasselbeck. Down the field, watch where this ball is thrown. It's thrown low to the outside. Ryan Clark doesn't have a chance to make a play on that ball. A last-second adjustment by Darrell Jackson.
Josh Brown looking to give the Seahawks a 7-3 lead, and this crowd very much back in the game after they were rendered very anxious with the injury to Sean Alexander. But Morris has run well, and how about the catches made by Darrell Jackson? All tough ones on this drive. Seattle by 4. The Seahawks had to be discouraged. They lose Alexander, they lose Jackson. They're faced with Morris. Jackson then comes back, makes big plays. Boy, did he lift this team.
Well, he lifted the team, but Matt Hasselbeck was the key on that drive. Some good decisions, pulling the ball down, threw the ball well. And that's the thing about this Seahawks offense. They've got Sean Alexander, but that's not the only weapon they have in this group. Matt Hasselbeck has had a heck of a season, and he's got some playmakers on the outside.
And he's run for 17 yards, and the kickoff returned by Liddell Betts. Straight ahead, protecting the football as Betts does not get to the 30-yard line. So Hasselbeck making it happen with his feet and his arms. 7-3, the Seahawks lead. 3:13 to go in the half. Seahawks dominating the statistics, but the Redskins capitalizing on the turnover. The muff punt return by Williams and getting their 3 points. They'll start from their 29-yard line. Fake to Portis, and the pass was caught by Taylor Jacobs. And the Redskins were hoping they would get someone to step up with the injury to James Thrash and David Patton going out in Week 11. That was a 16-yard gain.
Now he's coming all the way across the field to get into that middle tier on this bootleg. Watch the play at the end. Get down, get yourself safe. Michael Boulware coming up to put a big hit on him. That's why he was jawing with him at the end of that play.
And Leroy Hill, who was shaken up at linebacker, the rookie back in there for the Seahawks. First down, Portis doesn't get much. And Rocky Bernard is there to stop the running play after 1.5 yards.
Well, it has been tough sledding for both of these teams in the run game. Both of these defenses doing a good job shutting down the running game. And you wonder, Washington, they're going to have to open it up. I know that that's been the recipe for success on this winning streak, but it looks as though their best opportunities today are going to be through the air.
So even without Alexander, Seattle has the little lead there in rushing. Bigger lead in the passing department. Second down and 8 on the 47 of the Redskins. Brunell wants to throw, gets chased. And off balance, completes to Royal, the tight end, and he slips and is down at the 40-yard line. Great pressure that time by the Seattle defense. A loss of 6, led by Bryce Fisher. Down to the 2-minute warning here in Seattle, with the Seahawks leading the Redskins 7-3. 2-minute warning with 1:58 on the clock, and the Seahawks in front 7-3. It'll be 3rd down and 14. And how about that Seattle defense? Brunell 6 of 12 for only 36 yards. Clinton Portis' longest run is 4 yards, just averaging 2 per carry.
Not a lot of big individual stars in this group, but they play well together.
Liddell Betts standing next to Brunell on 3rd and 14 on the Redskins 41. Brunell looking downfield. Up for grabs, and the ball is knocked away. Penalty marker there. Jimmy Farris, who was inactive the last 3 games, and Lofa Tatupu downfield, and a flag comes down. That ball hung out there. And the question is, were the Seahawks playing the ball or not?
Seahawk players are reacting like it's against the Redskins.
Pass interference. Offense. Number 86. Penalties decline. It's a 4th down.
Jimmy Farris coming from the outside, a double move. Look at that. Lofa Tatupu, number 51, the linebacker, all the way downfield on the wide receiver. I don't know. I didn't see anything there.
I did not see a push on Lofa Tatupu.
I didn't see Jimmy Farris do anything either.
That's what I mean. Apparently he had pushed Tatupu, who was defending him. So 4th down. In any event, Derek Frost will be kicking, and Jimmy Williams going back for the Seahawks. Good high kick. And the fair catch by Williams, who had a costly turnover at the 21-yard line. Well, coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have highlights and analysis of the first half, and the Fox Sports ticker has up to the second stats as well. Don't forget, tomorrow, Carolina Panthers and the Chicago Bears tangle on Fox in the other NFC divisional playoff game. Last 2 minutes of either half, Matt Hasselbeck has been off the charts this year.
Yeah, that's another area where you see the chemistry of a group come through, and Matt Hasselbeck very comfortable in this system, played together with several of these guys for many years now, and those 2-minute situations, it's another area where that shows up.
3 timeouts for both teams. And a quick pass out to Darrell Jackson. And Jackson will have to settle for a 2-yard gain thanks to Pearson Prelo, who made a big recovery on the muff, which set up the field goal for Washington. That was a 2-yard gain there.
And Darrell Jackson, he apologizing to Matt Hasselbeck right there. You play against the Redskins defense. You don't want to lose too much ground when you're trying to avoid a tackler.
This Seattle team really had its struggles against NFC East teams at home this year, beating the Cowboys on a last-second field goal and the Giants in overtime. Big opening that time for Maurice Morris, and he may have the first down. Evans and Stoutmeyer on the tackle.
Looks like we had a fumble at the end of this play. Seattle very fortunate to get it back. Following in behind Max Strong, gets him some room to the outside. Demetric Evans hustling downfield. Looks like he knocked that out at the end. Oh, Walter Jones he wasn't going downfield. Walter Jones took him downfield.
And the hurry up on 3rd and 1. And here is Morris going outside, diving, and loses yardage. And Carlos Rogers, who very nearly had an interception, for a touchdown with a very alert play. And it'll be 4th down and a loss and timeout called by Washington.
Great pursuit by this Redskin defense. It looked like Maurice Morris was going to have an opportunity to move the chains, but boy, had 2-3 defenders coming at him. He couldn't get away from everybody.
So a loss of 1 with 29 seconds remaining in the first half. And it's notable is the fact that Sean Alexander suffering a concussion and leaving things in the hands of Matt Hasselbeck, who has rushed for 17 yards and threw a 29-yard touchdown pass to Darrell Jackson for the lead. 4th and 2. Tom Ruin will be kicking. Antonio Brown going deep for the Redskins. Line drive kick, and will drop inside the 35-yard line and will roll all the way to the 30. 18 seconds on the clock. So it turned out to be a 41-yard punt, and Joe Gibbs with Mark Brunell to discuss how to play these last 18 seconds.
figure they'd have to gain about 30 yards in those 18 seconds to give John Hall a shot at that field goal.
They do have the timeouts in their pocket, should they go that route. They come out with 3 wide receivers and out of the shotgun. Brunell going underneath and getting hit immediately is Liddell Betts by Lofa Tatupu. Hard hit and a gain of 3. And the clock stopping with 12 seconds to go as the Redskins call their second timeout.
I think Liddell Betts wants him to take a knee on this next play. Watch this. Man.
He's definitely going to talk to Mark Brunell about throwing this pass, Moose.
Lofa Tatupu leading the team in tackles.
I mean, doing everything on the sacks, the interceptions. I mean, he's a playmaker. You can't say enough about a young guy coming into the NFL, and I mean, just so inspirational to everybody. I mean, to coordinate the defense, but then have the production. I mean, he does everything as a first-year player.
And that's been the big change, Darrell, in the Seattle defense. All 3 of the linebackers who started from last year no longer with the team. Chad Brown, Orlando Huff, Anthony Simmons all gone. 2 rookies manning it now with D.D. Lewis III. Second down and 8. And they're not going to take a knee, apparently. Out of the shotgun again is Brunell. Brunell drilling it, incomplete, going to Moss. And he was covered by Trufant. And Moss is slow getting up, and I guess you can trust the veteran quarterback not to make the big mistake, and that's what Gibbs has in Brunell.
Yeah, you can never underappreciate the experience that they've had playing in games like this, and Santana Moss is a little nicked up on that going to the sideline, but you kind of saw it last weekend in the wild card round. You know, it was all the veteran quarterbacks that came out on top last week. It was the running backs pretty much the majority of the season that were defining the offenses, but last week in that wild card round, it was the quarterback stepping up.
6 seconds remaining in the first half. 3rd down and 8. Handoff to Liddell Betts. And Betts will be stopped at the 40 as time will run out. So an early field goal off a turnover by John Hall after a scoreless first quarter. Matt Hasselbeck capping a 74-yard drive with a 29-yard touchdown pass to Darrell Jackson. Seahawks 7, Redskins 3. The Fox NFL Divisional Playoff continues with the Visa halftime report.